Hey, sports fans, PBZ Sports, Chaos. And guess what? We're going to talk problem childs this week. Yeah, we got a couple problem childs in the NFL and the NBA we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk Gronk's legacy because he retired again. We'll debate whether or not that's final. I think it might be. We got a little fantasy football trade PB wants to share with us. We'll chat about that. But we're going to start with the NHL, the Stanley Cup. PB, I really thought after the ning, because that's, I guess, the word now that they call the ning, after the blowout Game 3 win, like I said last week, let's wait till Game 3 for me to give my final prediction. I thought they turned it around, and then they lost in Game 4. I got to ask you, hockey guy, was that controversial? Should that have not been called? Should have been called at the end with too many men on the ice?
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to see the refs let a few things maybe stretch or go a little bit further than they normally would. It's tough sometimes getting caught up in line changes and whatnot. But
well, and they let it go. That was the big thing. They let it go, right?
Yeah.
Which is much like us Bruins fans would have liked back in 78 against the Canadians when it was called, right?
But I think you see that across all sports when it comes playoff time. They tend to ease up a little bit. Take pass interference in the NFL as an example.
Yeah.
It's called like crazy during the regular season. The playoffs come around, you get away with a little bit more. So,
by the way, the Avs coach made an excellent point. He goes, if you just back that film up even about 2 seconds more, they had 7 guys on the ice where we had 6. So, I mean, come on. Right? So there you go.
Yeah, but the bottom line is you got a team in Tampa that's very obviously experienced, having won 2 in a row. They had a lot of resiliency. They went down 2-0 to the Rangers. They won 4 in a row after that. There's no reason to think that this team can't come back and win 3 in a row right now.
All right, so I'll ask you right now, Game 5 tonight in Colorado, can they win that game? Do they win that game? Right,
can and do. They've already proven that they can go on the road when the chips are on the table and win a hockey game. They won Game 5 against the Rangers on the road.
Right.
They won Game 7 against Toronto on the road. I think when their backs are against the wall, they're going to play some good hockey. And here's what I think. I think they're going to win tonight. I think they'll go back to Tampa, and I think they'll win again. And I think they're going to force a Game 7 here. I still think Colorado, winning 3 in a row is tough. I still think this thing could go 7. Anything can happen in Game 7. They're a resilient bunch of guys. I just think that they're not done. They're not done yet.
So I saw a stat yesterday. I believe in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, any team leading 3-1 is like, I want to say it's like 55-1. The record, winning the cup.
Wow, that's an impressive stat. Yeah, I didn't know that, but
it's mind-boggling. I don't know if it's that great, but it's like there's only one team that ever came back from it ever. So, and by the way, I think other than that, no one's ever forced more than the Game 6.
Wow. Yeah. So we'll see. Because tonight's the big night. It's in Colorado. If you can win this one and come back home, and the whole thing about this, we probably had a completely different conversation. The Tampa Bay Lightning took that game to overtime. Well, actually, the Avalanche took it to overtime because the Lightning were winning going into the third period.
But if the Lightning turned around and won
that game, it'd be a 2-2 series right now. It would be like the Lightning would do the same thing that they just did to the Rangers, right? So it's that one overtime goal changes the whole perspective of this thing.
It does.
Don't put it past the Lightning though to come back on this thing.
No, I'm with you. I would have liked to see it be tied, and then I would be a lot more confident. But we'll see. I think they can force a Game 7. I'm with you. All right, NBA. They had their draft last night. Not a lot of excitement. Paolo Banchero from Duke was drafted number 1. Supposedly he wasn't supposed to go to number 1. I thought it was a good pick for him being number 1. We'll see. Jabari Smith was picked 3rd. But to me, what was interesting is what happened a little further down. The Pistons took this kid, Jaden Ivey, from, Purdue at number 4. But then it got really bizarre. Leave it to those New York freaking Knicks. PB, I don't think I've ever seen this in any sport with a trade. They take the 11th pick in hand, they draft it, they turn around, they trade it, they get assets back, including the number 12 pick or number 13 pick at that point in time, a guy named Jalen Duren. They trade him. They end up with 3 number ones in 2025 and a 42nd pick last night. So you went from number 11 to number 42 and 3 number ones in 3 years from now. Am I missing something? Is that the stupidest thing you've ever seen in your life?
Yeah, future assets are interesting. I mean, Danny Ainge tried to build the Celtics around future assets for many, many years, and obviously wasn't that successful with that approach. So I'm not sure I'm on board with going out that far and trying to just gain assets for the future.
No, plus they got some players. They need a player or two now. Knicks could be, I mean, they were in the playoffs last year. I think they won a series. That to me was the most mind-boggling thing. And I could see Stephen A. Smith now, his beloved Knicks, right? I got a prediction for you out of this draft. The guy who was picked number 2, 7 feet tall, Chet Holmgren. Literally, I think you have more muscle on you than he does. He's 199 pounds and 70 feet. How much do you weigh?
I'm only like $165, so.
But you're 5'10"?
No, I'm 6 feet, dude.
Oh, when you're wearing your heels. But anyways, he's 199 pounds, 7 feet. I predict he's going to be the biggest bust since Sam Bowie. Do you know who Sam Bowie was?
Yeah, of course I do.
The guy picked before Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
There you go. By the way, the Celtics and Lakers both had no picks last night, but the Celtics don't need a pick. They need a veteran point guy like we talked about. Hello, John Wall. John Wall, can you hear us? All right, let's go to the drama queen. Kyrie, Cancer Kyrie, as I like to call him. Can you believe all the news is about what he's going to do next year? I mean, PB, would you want him on your team?
No, absolutely not.
Who? And now he's got a wish list. If you're not going to give me an extension, New Jersey, for what I want to go to, let's see if I get this right. He wants to go to the Lakers, Clippers, Heat, Mavs, 76ers, or Knicks that we just mentioned. Maybe that's a good fit for him right there. Apparently they cleared some salary cap space. But I mean, what do you think? Is there a possibility, PB? Is there a possibility Kyrie doesn't even play next year?
That's a stretch. I don't think so.
But really, do you think there's a team that if he said, you know what, you don't want to give him the money, because he can opt out and be a free agent, right? Is there a chance he opts out and gets to be a free agent and no one picks him up?
Someone will pick him up. It's the NBA.
Wow. All right. Here's the other half of that. What Kevin Durant? He only went to Brooklyn because of Kyrie. What if he leaves? What if Kyrie leaves? Does Durant want out?
That's another good point. I mean, Brooklyn could go from this team that was just down here to all of a sudden being like championship favorites, which obviously the Celtics took care of in a quick sweep, but they were like that big 3, and now they could just fall right back into the tank immediately.
I mean, everybody's going to want Durant, but this is not NCAA. There's no transfer portal, Durant. You can't name where you want to go because you're NIL, right?
Right. No, it actually makes the Knicks strategy actually look good, right?
You know what, PB? I think you're right on that. I think that's what they were thinking.
Yeah, because I mean they're not putting all their stock into a guy. They're looking at just trying to build those assets, kind of like, you know, like we said, like the Celtics did for many years there. But all right.
Good luck with Cancer Kyrie. Good luck having a guy that plays 50 games a year out of 82, right? All right, let's go on to the NFL. Speaking about a league that does like to play, Deshaun Watson. This is what the news that should have been headline news this week. He settles with 20 out of 24 women, ironically, not too far after he already signed a $230 million guaranteed contract. What does this mean, PB, at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's interesting. And one of the people that he didn't settle with was the original woman who brought the whole sexual misconduct to light, right? Which I find kind of interesting. So she might be holding out for a little bit more, or maybe goes to trial. I mean, I can't imagine this thing going to trial, but I think Deshaun's trying to get this past him. I mean, I think he's realized that what he did was not appropriate. I think he realizes that the NFL is actually, and I don't mean NFL meaning the NFL front office, but the NFL league, Cleveland Browns in particular, are giving him an opportunity, a chance. And I think he's realizing and recognizing that he's fortunate to be even in that position. So
let me back that up for a second. Is he fortunate to concede, because is he not conceding to guilt now? Is that not an admission of guilt?
It may be, but I mean, the level of what we don't know, like the level of what he did, because sexual misconduct can happen in so many different ways. And, we don't know the details of what transpired. He obviously had a very habitual approach to these women, and probably used, language and tried to coerce them in some way, shape, or form to perform whatever type of acts that he was hoping to get as part of this. And that's kind of where it stemmed from. And I think he probably regrets it. I mean, he probably regrets it. I admitting guilt to that is, I mean, we all know he did it. Like he knows he did it. So yeah, it is an admission of guilt, but I think in his mind, he's admitting to a guilt that's here, not a guilt that's here. So
good point. So let me ask you a question. As far as his penalty, because he has to have a penalty in the NFL. I mean, if Brady was a co-conspirator, not the offender or alleged offender, to a football, and he got 4 games. This guy was the actual conspirator to females. It's got to be like 3 times more than 4 games, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think a full season at this point is not out of the realm of possibility. And that also then makes the Cleveland Browns look kind of, what are they doing? Like giving all this guaranteed money to this guy who's now going to miss two full seasons. And, that's tough. It's tough to come back into the NFL and perform at that same level when you miss that much time, especially when you have all these newer quarterbacks coming in, these younger kids coming in. Deshaun Watson was easily a top 3 to top 5 quarterback in the NFL when he was with the Texans, back several years ago. And now he's going to be, maybe if he's lucky, in the top half. Right.
And missing 2 years of football.
Right. So maybe he gets into the top half in the league, but that puts him 15, 14, 13, 12. He's going to be somewhere in that range. So he's not the same. He won't be the same guy missing that many years. That's the thing. In Cleveland, what are they going to do this year? They just hold on to Jacoby. What do you do with Baker? There's just so many question marks.
So that begs the question. Is Baker going to be the day 1 starter?
I said this before on previous shows. Until that decision is made by the NFL, I don't think they're going to make a move with Baker. They're going to wait till that decision is made, and then they will, in turn, make a decision based on that. Although,
and I mean, Baker says, supposedly on the record or off the record, I don't know what it is, he will never play again for Cleveland. But if they don't trade him or cut him, he's on the roster. Why wouldn't you play Baker at that point in time, right?
Exactly. I mean, I can't imagine him holding out. He doesn't have.
No, it's not going to help your cause. No. All right. Hey, let's move on to Gronk. He retires once again the second time. You think it's for good this time?
Yeah, I do. It's the second time around. Just like when Brady announces his next time when he retires, it'll stick.
I'm with you. And you know why? I think he's too banged up, and I think he can still play, but he would just be a Travis Kelce, and he doesn't want to be a Travis Kelce. Just the guy that catches balls. What's his legacy, PB, as a tight end in NFL history?
His legacy? I mean, he's the best tight end ever to play the game. I think.
Do you have him at number 1 all time?
Yeah.
Over Tony Gonzalez or Kellen Winslow?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're up there, and when you look at your top 5, you're gonna have guys like that. But at the end of the day, this guy did everything. He caught footballs, he ran routes, he ran deep, he ran short. He could block on the outside, of course, as we know, which is big. And he played the position the way it's supposed to be played. And oh, by the way, he won 4 Super Bowls, and 3 of them with New England, 1 with Tampa.
Yep.
And he has many records in terms of I think he has the most 100-yard receiving games of any tight end ever. He's money. He's money.
Yeah. All right. All right. I'm with you. I happen to think the same thing as well. All right. Wrapping it up. Let's go. NFL fantasy trade. Give us what you got here. This is in this. What do you guys call it again? Survival. What's it called?
No, this is the
Oh,
dynasty. This is the
Dynasty
dynasty
League, right? It goes on
dynasty
and on.
league.
It goes on and on to one of you guys die. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. So this particular one's kind of interesting. So this one is player A. We'll leave the names out to protect the innocent. Player A gets Aaron Jones, a 2024 first round pick, actually two 2024 first round picks.
Okay.
From two different obviously he had assets built up, so he had a couple picks there. Both these teams are good teams in the league. So these first round picks for 2024 likely will be in the bottom half of the first round. So it'll be like pick 7 through 12.
Okay.
More than likely overall. So that's what they're getting. Aaron Jones and 2 first round picks in 2024, likely in the 7 to 12 range. For a 2023, which is next year's draft, first round pick from a team that is probably going to be in the bottom 3 in the league. So that could be a top 3 pick, as well as a 2023 second round pick that will also be a pretty high pick. So that might be like around, top 3 in the second round. So maybe a, 13, 14, 15, 16 type pick there. Now the theory,
here's what you're getting. The 2023, here's what you're getting. The 2023 picks are going to be this. You're going to get a skill position with one of the picks, right? If it's top 3, obviously you're going to get one of the 3 best skill positions or the absolute best offensive lineman in the game. In
Dynasty, we don't have.
Oh, that's right. So there you go. So it's going to be a skill. And then the same thing, the second pick, a 2023 second rounder, is going to be a pass catching running back, maybe.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the other ones, Aaron Jones.
You don't like the future of Green Bay Packers once Rodgers is gone. I know that.
And by the way, Aaron Jones' days are numbered. A.J. Dillon is going to take his place, getting the majority of the balls up there. A.J.'s actually a very good pass catcher. They use him more often for that. And then the 2024 draft picks that are in the middle of the pack, I mean, really, those picks at that point in time are reserved for linemen or linebackers. So you're not getting any value out of those draft picks, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, again, we don't do any.
But but what I'm saying is that's where you're normally picking.
Oh, okay. All right.
In the middle there, right? So at that point in time, the skilled players are already gone that you would want. That's why I'm saying if it was an NFL team, they'd be drafting. So because all the good guys you want skill-wise are off the board. At that point in time.
I see you've drawn the analogy.
Yeah. So at that point, you're really drafting a 3rd or 4th round skill player in the real draft.
Right. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
So you got the analogy I was making.
You got right. So you got to find a kind of diamond in the rough, a gem type of thing.
Correct.
When you're picking there. So
maybe you got a Tyreek Hill out of it, but that's probably what you're looking at.
Yeah. So it's at the end of the day, so you take Aaron Jones and 2 2024 first round picks, which again will be bottom half of that draft, bottom half of that first round, for a 2023 early first and early second.
I would take that because you're going to get it early. The other team that stinks that gave up the 2024, they could rebound and be a great team next year. And that 2024 is now really bad, right?
Right. Plus, with the unknown future of Aaron Jones, you could add that to the mix. So
yeah.
All right. Interesting.
That's my thought.
All right. Interesting. I'm sure our Dynasty teammates will be excited to hear that analysis from the Z.
Yeah, they got a 6th round skill player. That's what they're getting. Hey, by the way, big thumbs up for my Oklahoma Sooners. They're going for the first ever twosome in college sports history, spring sports. Softball championship they already won. They're playing in the College World Series for men starting Saturday. No time ever has the men and women in softball, baseball won at the same time. from one school.
Wow. That'd be cool. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
All right, PB, anything else before we part ways here?
No, just can't wait. We're approaching the 4th of July. So once that hits, we got football. We break down all the divisions. We just come at you with NFL from every angle as we get ready for this season to kick off.
By the way, we're gonna do another live IG because I met some folks last week that want to come on and give us some feedback live and debate us about football.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Love it. Love the challenge.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
All right.